students, in the last lecture what we have learned, the Sikhs in Punjab demanded an independent state of Khalistan and began a movement which went on to become violent and destructive. So Pakistan had lent its support to this movement. The Indian army was sent into the Golden Temple. You can see in the picture here, Golden Temple, the holy shrine of the Sikhs in 1984. So in 1984, why the army was sent in this? Because some terrorists, they took shelter in this holy shrine of the Sikhs. To vacate this place from the terrorists, the army was sent into the Golden Temple, Amritsar. So and one of the Sikh bodyguard in Indira Gandhi's personal security assassinated her. So to take the revenge, this was the place belongs to Sikhs, and this was the place holy to them, and the land of these area, this holy shrine, was blooded due to the army action, and many Sikhs were angered, or you can say they became very furious about this act, or you can say, and to take the revenge of that, two Sikh bodyguard of Indira Gandhi, that is Satwant Singh and Balwant Singh, they assassinated Indira Gandhi. Then after the Indira Gandhi, who became the Prime Minister? Right after Indira Gandhi assassination in 1984, Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India. He tried to make several reforms in the field of Indian economy and that of science and technology. He took the lead in solving the issue of the Tamil minority in Sri Lanka. As we know, Sri Lanka belongs to Sinhala community, and there is one minority is also living today also, Tamil, and these people were continuously demanding that they should given some rights in the constitution of Sri Lanka, but they were not given. So they asked to Rajiv Gandhi to interfere or to look into this matter. So he promoted the idea of united Sri Lanka with internal autonomy to the Tamil community, but his efforts in this regard proved to be vain. But whatever effort he put, that was wastage, didn't brought any kind of a fruit. So let's see. So he faced lot of criticism in the contest of corruption that took place during a defense. Now see, what type of the corruption? When he purchased these Bofors. Bofors is a defense equipment. This is a one kind of a cannon. So here the government of Rajiv Gandhi was charged with the corruption, especially the purchase of long range cannon. What is a cannon? The cannon means this is a cannon though, from a foreign company called Bofors. So Bofors is the name of this company's the company which makes this cannon or this defense equipment. The name of that company is a Bofors. Political corruption became a crucial issue in the general election that followed, and Congress party was defeated. So coming up in the next general election, this issue was took on a large scale, or you can say was risen very high, and because of that Congress party lost the election, or you can say was defeated, you can say. Then what happened, children, after that? Let's see. Several political party formed a coalition called Janata Dal, and Vishwanath Pratap Singh became the next Prime Minister of India. After Rajiv Gandhi, who became the Prime Minister of India? That is Vishwanath Pratap Singh. So several political parties, they came together and formed one party, Mili Juli पार्टी मीन्स बहुत सारी पार्टियां एक साथ आई और उन्होंने एक पार्टी बनाई, उसका नाम था जनता दल. एंड विश्वनाथ प्रताप सिंह बिकेम द नेक्स्ट प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया. सो हु बिकेम आफ्टर राजीव गांधी? विश्वनाथ प्रताप सिंह. Okay children, So now here the policy for providing reservation for other backward classes OBC is considered to be his most important contribution. So this Janata Dal, this party, what type of the contribution they did? They gave the reservation, or they accepted the reservation of OBC. Their main important contribution, we can say that they have given the reservation to the OBC quota, that Vishwanath Pratap Singh's government. He could not continue as a prime minister due to internal differences in the party. So in the party, okay, so he could not long last the party, and due to that his government came to down. In 1990, Chandrasekhar became the Prime Minister of India. In 1991, during the election campaign, the terrorist organization in Sri Lanka, Liberation Tigers of Tamil Alum, LTTE, assassinated Rajiv Gandhi. Now after Rajiv Gandhi, Vishwanath Pratap Singh, and after Vishwanath Pratap Singh, who became the Prime Minister? Chandrasekhar. Who became the Prime Minister, children? Chandrasekhar. And in 1991, what happened, children? That this party LTTE, killed the Rajiv Gandhi, the former Prime Minister. Former Prime Minister was killed by this party. Now, towards the end of the decade, 1980s, the unrest in Jammu and Kashmir had begun. What kind of the unrest began in Jammu and Kashmir? That the terrorist activities there forced the Kashmiri Pandit to leave the valley. Means here terrorist activities took place and the Hindus were asked to vacate the valley. The Hindus were asked to vacate the valleys. This Pandit were forced, Kashmiri Pandit were forced to leave the valley when in 1980s the situation was very worse. This problem grew, you can say, very serious. These problems grew very serious day by day, and today it has taken the form of terrorism. Those time problem means in 1980s this problem, terrorist activities. So these activities means these people, the Pakistani people wanted, means they wanted to spread the terrorism, and because of that they were telling to the Kashmiri Pandit to vacate the valley, and these activities today turn into a terrorism. Next, the change, this 1991 period is very remarkable in our history because lots of the changes came after 1991. Children, always remember today where we are standing because of 1991 policy also. So the background of this 1991 we are going to study in the political science, that is in the first lesson. In 1991 what happened, my children? The Cold War ended and two nations were separate, two superpowers, whatever the struggle was going on between two superpowers, that came to an end. So America became the superpower and Russia lost the battle. So that's why we can say 1991 is very, very important, or you can say remarkable point in our history. The year 1991 is held to be very important in the history of the world as well as India. As earlier I said, World Cold War ended. The tension which was in the mind, or which was going on in the minds of the people about the Cold War, that also ended. And in the Indian history also it is very remarkable. Many strong steps were taken. To formulate our policy or to change our economy. So let's see. In India, the government under the leadership of P.V. Narasimha Rao. So after who? Chandrasekhar, who became the Prime Minister? P.V. Narasimha Rao, initiated many changes in the Indian economy. So this government brought many changes. Under who was the finance minister at that time under the P.V. Narasimha Rao? That was who? Manmohan Singh. During this period, the Ram Janambhoomi and Babri Mosque issue at Ayodhya came to forefront. As we know, 6 December 1992, Rath Yatra, which was started by Advani, that that turned into a, you can say, Babri Mosque issue. That was the hot issue at that time, and Ram Janambhoomi and Babri Mosque issue at Ayodhya came to forefront. That was raised, you can see. That was very, very important point of that history. So in the election conducted between, see which period, 1996, 99, no stable government we got. Stable government was not, means 1990, after 1991 Narasimha Rao, after that 1990s, after every 5 years we know the elections are taking place. So in 1996 from 1996 to 1999, no political party got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha. These resulted in 3 governments. Which type of the government? In short span of time. Those led by Atal Bihari, 13 days, first government, 13 days, H.D. Devagowda, Indra Kumar, Gujarat. So after Narasimha Rao, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, then H.D. Devagowda, then Indra Kumar, Gujarat. These were. Now let's see. In 1999, the National Democratic Alliance, this is the, you can say, this alliance, NDA, today we are knowing with the short form NDA, and that is under Bharatiya Janata Party, came to power under the flag of, just see, as earlier I said, here you can see that under the flag of Bharatiya Janata Party. And Atal Bihari Vajpayee became the India's Prime Minister in 1999. India conducted a number of nuclear tests in 1998 and declared herself an atomic power. So what we can see in 1999, when the election was held, who became the Prime Minister? That is Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So which was the alliance? National Democratic Alliance, NDA we used to call. And during his reign, Atal Bihari's reign, what? Many atomic power, means many nuclear tests were conducted. So in 1999, there was another war between India and Pakistan in Kargil region over the Kashmir issue. India defeated Pakistan in this war as well. I will show you the video when we will come in the Zoom class. Okay children, so here Kargil, as you know, where Kargil, here we can see here. So Kargil war in 1999. Indian economy. Now we are coming to the another point, that is the Indian economy. Right from independence, the modernization of economy, right from independence, we have seen that for planning commission, as earlier I said, what is the name given to the planning commission? That is Niti Aayog. So right from independence, our main focus was modernization of economy, economic self-sufficiency and social justice have been the characteristics of the Indian economy. So what are the main characteristics of the Indian economy? You can see here, which are modernization of economy, means some improvement, economic self-sufficient. We should we wanted to bring independent, means dependency hatani or independent banna. Then social justice. These were the characteristics of Indian economy. National Planning Commission, as earlier I said, what is now it is known as Niti Aayog, was established that would coordinate development through the policy of 5 years plan. As earlier only in earlier lecture also I said, this National Planning Commission, they formed the plan for 5 years. The Narasimha Rao government started economic reforms from 1991. So as earlier I said, 1991 period is very, very important in Indian politics also and in the world also. So these economic reforms are called economic liberalization. Many liberalization we are going to study in the next chapter. The foreign investment in India increased. What is the meaning of foreign investment, my children? Previously 49% only foreigners were not allowed to invest their money, or you can see the foreigners were feeling they were not ready to invest in India. They were thinking, the misconception was in their mind that Indian Indian people are unskilled, they are lazy, or you can say so political clouds were there, or matlab profit was less. So all the barriers which were there, that were decreased, you can say that were removed, and the foreign investment came to India. Skilled Indian professionals helped reform the Indian economy. Many skilled people came together, many professionals came together, and they gave their contribution to reform Indian economy. Reform is to bring the changes. The field of information technology opened several ways of employment in the country. Means information technology, as we learned that Rajiv Gandhi also gave, means he also developed science and technology in the field. So here Vikram Bhatia, you can say he gave him Vikram Bhatia at that time, he constructed a microcomputer. The changes after 1991 are also described as globalization. The changes which we have taken, many reforms were done after 1991. Here you can see. So these are known as globalization. As 1991, as earlier I said, the Cold War ended and America became the superpower, and the tension which was going on in the mind of the people, that was ended, and that turned into a globalization. Means any country can do trade with any of the country. The markets were open for all the nations to do the trade. So that is globalization. Two major events must be mentioned while describing India's efforts towards self-reliance. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan is known as the father of Green Revolution. Here you can see Dr. M.S. Swaminathan and Green Revolution in 1965. What is a Green Revolution? 5 things were included in this: irrigation, pesticides, you can see fertilizer, and modern technology. You can see here modern technology. The equipments, previously we were using the traditional in the farming traditional. So these traditional equipments were removed with the mechanized farming. So 2 major events took place in this era. So now he implemented new scientific agriculture techniques and hybrid seeds. As earlier I can say hybrid seeds also. Increase the production of food grains. Previously we were depending on other countries for our food. So this Green Revolution brought self-sufficiency in food grains. The experiment in cooperative dairy farming, or you can say dairy movement, by Dr. Verghese Kurian led to increase milk production. This is called White Revolution. So 2 remarkable: Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, Green Revolution; Dr. Verghese Kurian for White Revolution. So White Revolution he started first, that is in you can say Gujarat, Amul. He went to the Mehsana. He was given the authority to start, he was given the work to do White Revolution. So he went to the Gujarat and he started Amul. That what is the full form of the Amul? Anand Milk Union Limited. So this is the biggest company which started on a cooperative base, So it is the world's largest company, or company which is based on cooperative scale, and the contribution, or you can say the real credit, goes to Verghese Kurian. Now next event, you can see India had also made a lot of progress in the field of atomic energy and space research. Already we are learning about the Homi Jahangir Bhabha in science also. So Dr. Homi Bhabha laid the foundation of Indian atomic power program, Tarapur mein, as you know. India assisted on using atomic energy for peaceful purposes. See, whatever nuclear tests we were doing, whatever atomic energy we were harnessing, so we have given for what purpose we are doing. Our motto was not to harm others, but for peaceful purpose, like generation of electricity, pharmaceutical matlab medicine, pharmaceuticals means medicine, and for defense. So India has achieved considerable success in space technology as well. So success in that also. So here you can see Aryabhatta. In 1975, the first satellite Aryabhatta was launched. You can see here was launched. India has a successful space program and many satellites have been launched under this program. India has also made considerable advancement in telecom sector. So now changes in the social field. Some of the changes are related with the issue of the empowerment of women. Issue of empowerment of women. Here we are going to see after that. Second point, uplift of deprived section of the society. Uplift means deprived, जैसे SC, ST, downtrodden people or any tribe with which the you can say they were remaining backward, to promote the all-round development of the women and children. Now let's see a separate first point related to first point. A separate department of women and child development was created. Previously this department was not there, but in 1985 under the ministry, human resource ministry, this was created. Is it? Under the Ministry of Human Resource Development. Some laws were made to ensure social justice to women and to help the implementation of various schemes in the direction. These laws we are going to learn in the sixth lesson of the history in detail. Okay, children? Now they include the Prohibition of Dowry Act. As you know, what is a dowry? Dahej Pratha. Equal Remuneration Act. Matlab equal work, equal pay. See, many injustices are done with the women. Though they are doing the same work, but they are not paid equally. They are not paid, as we know that our society is male-oriented society, male-dominated society. So equal remuneration, equal pay for equal work. As per the 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment. Amendments here changes. Seats were reserved for the women in the local self-government bodies. Local self-government bodies, municipal corporation, municipalities, Panchayati Raj and Panchayati Samiti. Now BP Mandal. The Kaka Sahib Kalelkar Commission was set up in 1953. In 1978, commission was constituted under the chairmanship of BP Mandal to study the issue of backward classes. You can say here, in 1978, what happened, children? A commission was constituted under the BP Mandal to study the issue of backward classes. Why this? The policy of reservation was adopted in order to strengthen the representation of backward section in various services and institutions. So the government passed. The policy reservation was adopted in order to strengthen the representation of backward sections in various services and institutions. The government passed the Prevention of Atrocities Act in 1989. Atrocities, no one can do bad, molest, वगैरह, to enable those belonging to scheduled castes and tribes to live with dignity and respect, free from fear, violence and oppression of the upper classes. So these people should not be treated badly with the upper classes, as we know that in the rural area this is the problem faced by the scheduled caste and tribes. Untouchability, or you can say they were exploited. Now we are coming to the next point, that is a globalization. Here you can see in the picture. Globalization brought about many changes in the different fields like economy, politics, science and technology and society and culture. India is an important member of international organization like G20. G20 means group of 20 countries. Group of 20 countries. And BRICS. BRICS means Brazil, you can see, Russia, India, China and South Africa. The full form of the BRICS is that. India has experienced an important revolution in the field of telecommunication. Already we learn in the sources of history. I think you might be remember, my children. mobile phones, internet and communication facilities based on satellite have spread all across the countries. Now we are using the mobile, you are learning online, so this is with the help of satellite, and this internet works on satellite. In the political field, India has demonstrated to the world how a stable democracy can function successfully. In political field, what we have shown to the world, that democracy is one kind of a stable form of government can function. All this has resulted in a total transformation in the lifestyle of Indian and especially the youth. These changes are visible from their dietary habits, clothing, language and belief.